What is good with you, fam? Because the greatest of all time finally came out of the shadows to shut down all that noise the Drake camp has been making about Kendrick Lamar and his legendary run. Long-awaited word from the King of New York finally arrived regarding the biggest war in hip-hop history, and he picked the right moment to end his years of silence. Jay-Z recently sat down for a massive cover story in the April 2026 global issue of GQ magazine, and he did not hold back a single bit during the talk. Since Fraser Tharp conducted the interview that officially hit the internet on March 24, 2026, shockwaves have been hitting every corner of the industry. The main reason for the meeting was celebrating the 30th anniversary of his classic debut album, Reasonable Doubt, but Harv knew he had to set the record straight on Kendrick and Drake. It has been a very long time since we heard from Sean Carter in this way, and his words carry a lot more weight than almost anyone else in the game right now. The start of the conversation makes it clear that Jay-Z is not just coming forward to pick a side for the sake of petty internet drama. He is moving like a statesman for the culture who wants to make sure the foundation of the music stays healthy and respected. Even though he admitted to working on some new music of his own, he told the world that he refuses to feed the internet with sloppy releases just to stay relevant. He is playing the long game while everyone else is chasing clips, but his most important statements were reserved for the man from Compton. The biggest point of contention over the last year has been the selection of Kendrick Lamar for the Super Bowl 59 halftime show in New Orleans. We all remember the chaos that erupted when that announcement came out back in February of 2025, especially when people like Birdman and Nicki Minaj acted like it was a personal attack. Jay-Z used this GQ interview to firmly defend that choice. According to Harv, Kendrick Lamar was the #1 streamed artist in the entire world during that specific window of time. When you are looking for someone to lead a global event like the Super Bowl, you have to go with the person who is actually dominating the charts in the conversation. Hovey stated that the decision was based strictly on merit and commercial dominance rather than any personal beef or behind-the-scenes politics. He framed the selection as a well-deserved reward for what he called a monster year for Kendrick, which saw him taking over the airwaves in a way we have not seen in a long time. There was a lot of noise about Lil Wayne being passed over in his own city, but Jay-Z dismissed the idea that any artist is simply owed a stage of that size. In his eyes, the stage belongs to the person who is sitting at the top of the mountain, and Kendrick proved he was that guy through his work and his impact. Narratives pushed by Drake fans about Jay-Z and Roc Nation trying to snub the Six. God just got completely shut down by this interview. Hov made it clear that he views the business of the NFL and the culture of hip-hop through a lens of excellence that Drake has not been hitting lately. While Drake was busy dropping songs that felt like they were coming from a place of desperation, Kendrick was putting the entire genre on his back and moving the needle forward. Jay-Z explained that when someone has a year that is as massive and culturally significant as the run Kendrick had, you cannot just ignore that in favor of nostalgia or personal relationships. The commercial dominance Kendrick displayed made him the undeniable choice for a global platform. Jay-Z seems amused that people would think there was some secret conspiracy involved. He is reminding everyone that the Super Bowl is about the biggest and best performers in the world, and for the last 2 years, that description has fit Kendrick Lamar perfectly, while Drake has been struggling to find his footing. It is a savage reality check for anyone who thought they could guilt-trip the league or Roc Nation into making a different choice based on feelings instead of facts. Jay-Z giving this kind of validation is the final nail in the coffin for any argument Drake had left about who actually won the war of 2024. There is nowhere left for you to hide when the man running the biggest stage in entertainment tells the world that your rival earned his spot through sheer dominance. Jay-Z is making it clear that the hip-hop community needs to get back to celebrating the people who are pushing the craft forward instead of crying about who got snubbed. He described Kendrick as a once-in-a-generation talent who met the moment with a level of precision that forced the whole world to pay attention. By framing it this way, Harv is showing that the gap between Kendrick and Drake is about the entire trajectory of their careers rather than just a few diss tracks. Kendrick chose to elevate the culture, while Drake spent his time leaning into theories and excuses for why he was being left behind. Jay-Z is reminding everyone that you get what you earn in this game, and Kendrick earned every second of that Super Bowl stage while Drake watched from the sidelines. The King of New York has spoken, and he is making it very obvious that the crown in Compton is the only one that actually matters right now. Jay-Z did not just stop at defending Kendrick, because he also took the time to address the wild theories being pushed by people like Birdman and Nicki Minaj. Ever since the Super Bowl announcement, the loyalists in the Drake camp have been trying to act like Harv made that choice just to spite the Sixth God or keep Lil Wayne away from his home turf. In the GQ interview, Jay-Z actually laughed at the idea that he would spend even 1 second of his life trying to orchestrate a plot against Drake. His exact words were that they try to drag everybody into it. But at the end of the day, he is F*** King Jay-Z. That quote is the ultimate flex because it shows the massive disconnect between how Drake's camp views the world and how actual legends operate. Hov clarified that he has absolutely no personal stake in the rivalry between Kendrick and Drake, and he even asked why he would care about those two guys battling when he has a billion-dollar empire to run. The interview highlights how absurd it is for Drake fans to think that a massive production like the NFL halftime show would revolve around Drake's feelings or his personal grievances. Hov is asserting his status as a titan of the industry who is far above the petty conspiracy level that Drake's camp keeps trying to operate on. The message is very clear that while Drake is out here looking for excuses and blaming the industry, Hov is making moves based on numbers and cultural impact alone. It is almost embarrassing to see people who have been in the game as long as Birdman trying to turn a business decision into a personal vendetta against their artists. The Brooklyn legend reminded everyone that when you are at his level of success, you do not need to play shadow games to make a point. If he wanted to stop Drake, he would not need a halftime show to do it. But the reality is that Drake is just not on his radar in that way. The conversation then shifted into a much more serious tone when Jay-Z began to analyze the actual content of the battle between Kendrick and Drake. Even though he gave Kendrick his flowers for the win, he was also very honest about how he felt that the entire 2024 battle represented a step back for hip-hop culture. He described the beef as having an unprecedented level of toxicity that started to overshadow the music and the competition itself. One of the biggest points he made was about the inclusion of kids and families in the diss tracks, which he slammed as being way too far. Hovey mentioned that it felt like the artists were trying to tear down each other's actual lives rather than just proving who was better on the microphone. This is a direct hit to the way the battle devolved into nasty allegations that had nothing to do with bars and everything to do with character assassination. Interestingly enough, Jay-Z was willing to admit his own hypocrisy when looking back at his legendary 2001 feud with Nas and the release of his controversial diss track, Super Ugly. He revealed that he actually regrets that entire situation now because he eventually realized that Nas is a really nice guy and the beef was unnecessary. It is a rare moment of vulnerability for Hov to admit that he let the competitive nature of the game cloud his judgment back then. Before we move on and see how Hov thinks these social media stands are low-key poisoning the whole culture, tell me what y'all think. Was Jay being real for admitting he went too far with Nas, or did he just get soft? Tell me in the comments, no cap. While you at it, like and subscribe. Let's continue. Hov thinks the current state of hip-hop is being poisoned by social media stand armies who turn a simple rap competition into genuine hate and life-ruining narratives. Jay-Z pointed the finger at these fan bases for creating an environment where artists feel they have to go for the jugular in ways that have nothing to do with the music. This makes the whole culture feel more like a circus than a creative space, and it is obvious that Hov is not a fan of where things are heading. He explained that when he was battling Nas, there was a level of respect for the art form that seems to be missing in this current era. Now, everything centers on who can post the most damaging information or who can generate the most viral moment of disrespect. Jay-Z warned that this toxic energy might feel exciting right now, but it ultimately hurts the long-term health of the genre we love. By bringing up his own past mistakes with Nas, he is showing that he has the wisdom to see when things have gone off the rails, and he is placing the blame on the way the internet has warped the rules of engagement. He expressed a desire to see the younger generation move back toward a place where they can compete at a high level without trying to destroy everything their opponent has built outside of the booth. This is a powerful critique from a man who has seen the best and worst of what this industry has to offer, and it should serve as a wake-up call for anyone who thinks that being toxic is the only way to win. Before we move on and see how Jay-Z delivered his final verdict on Drake, tell me what y'all think. Did the beef go too far with the family talk? Tell me in the comments, no cap. While you at it, like and subscribe. Let's continue. Jay-Z's entire analysis of this war really boils down to one major point that the Drake camp is going to have a very hard time swallowing. He made it clear that while Kendrick Lamar won the war on merit and pure musical dominance, the way Drake chose to respond was a massive step back for the entire genre of hip-hop. It is a legendary burn to have the most successful rapper in history basically tell the world that your strategy was toxic and damaging to the culture. Jay-Z highlighted that Kendrick stayed focused on the artistry and the impact of the music, but Drake's decision to drag families and innocent kids into the mud created a blueprint for negativity that Hov wants to move away from entirely. By framing the battle this way, Jay-Z is effectively saying that Kendrick moved like a king while Drake moved like someone who was desperate to win at any cost. This interview makes Drake look like the primary architect of the very energy that the elders of the culture are trying to phase out of the game. It is a major loss for Drake to realize that the industry's highest powers view his recent behavior as a liability to the health of the music business. While Drake is out here fighting for his life on the internet and trying to convince everyone that he is still the man, Jay-Z used this GQ moment to remind the world who truly holds the keys to the kingdom. He officially announced 2 massive headlining shows at Yankee Stadium for July 2026 to celebrate his own 30-year legacy. This move serves as a stark contrast to everything Drake has been going through lately because it shows the difference between a temporary run and a permanent legacy. Jay-Z is still commanding the biggest stages in the world just by existing, and he is doing it without needing to engage in petty internet drama or toxic back and forths. His ability to sell out a stadium in his home city while speaking on the state of the culture shows that he is playing a game that Drake is not even invited to anymore. The interview confirms that the industry's highest powers, from Roc Nation to the NFL, have officially crowned Kendrick Lamar as the definitive leader of this current era. When you have Harv himself standing behind you and explaining that your dominance is based on pure merit and a monster year of streaming success, there is no higher level of validation in this business. Everything we just witnessed effectively kills those weak rumors about Kendrick being some lucky underdog or an industry plant. His peers and the legends who came before him clearly view Kendrick as the rightful king of this era because he actually carries the weight of that crown with real dignity. Drake looks like he completely isolated himself from the gatekeepers of hip-hop respect by trying to turn a lyrical battle into a messy character assassination attempt. Jay-Z made it plain that Drake might have permanently damaged his own legacy through his conduct. He is now stuck watching from the sidelines while the true greats celebrate how far the culture has come. When the man who wrote the blueprint for hip-hop success tells the world you took things way too far, you have already lost the war for good. That GQ interview serves as the ultimate cosign for Kendrick while delivering a harsh reality check to everyone over in Drake's camp. It proves that while you can manipulate social media and purchase fake hype, you can never buy the respect of the legends who built this foundation. Drake is still going to put up big streaming numbers, but Kendrick Lamar has officially ascended into a completely different league when it comes to actual stature and cultural impact. This is the natural result when you try to lead with toxicity and the culture finally decides they have had enough of your manipulative games. Kendrick is clearly the king, and Jay-Z is still the greatest of all time. This leaves Drake as the guy who figured out much too late that he was playing the wrong game. Before we move on and see how Drake tries to recover from this massive loss, tell me if you think Jay-Z just ended Drake's career as a respected lyricist. Tell me in the comments, because I need to know your thoughts. No cap, while you at it, like and subscribe to stay updated on the beef, we will have to wait and see how Drake even attempts to bounce back from a blow this heavy. The road back to being respected by the legends looks incredibly long from where I'm sitting.